So, of course, to tell us what Carlo Ancelotti is going to do is his former right-hand man. I'm just kidding. I'm not going to put you on the spot like that. But jokes aside, you do know him better than most people. If you could get inside his mind, and you also know the club, because, of course, you were there with him and you spent many years together at other clubs, PSG, Bayern Munich, Chelsea as well. So, looking at the situation, looking at the panorama, how do you think this is most likely going to play out by the end of the season? Do you think it's more likely that he stays and finishes his contract? Or do you think that it's more likely that he decides to go? Speculation is maybe he'll go to Brazil, maybe Xabi Alonso will come in. How do you see it potentially playing out?
I mean, after the Champions League loss to Arsenal, I think all the noise was that there was going to be a separation. That's obviously not been confirmed yet. Until it is, you just have to assume he's going to keep going into next season. But it's more than likely going to be the case that I think that they'll leave. And from my point of view, I hope that it's done in a way that respects what he's done for that club in his first spell and his second spell as well. It's the most titles of any coach that's ever worked for that club now. So, you know, however it's... The best situation, I think, is that it's mutually agreed, that it doesn't have to be an acrimonious departure where he's fired. Right. Hopefully that will be the case. I know for sure, though, Carlo will want to go out on a positive way if he does leave. And that will be trying to win La Liga still and trying to win the Copa del Rey. He's always been a really classy guy, and I'm sure there'll be no change in that.
I mean, that's a crazy thing, isn't it? To think that he's won 15 titles, more than anybody else. And yet, here we are in a situation where potentially he could be shown the door, but nonetheless, I mean, he is a brilliant manager. What do you think would be the best solution for both parties?
I'm not sure what is the best. I think the one what will happen is, like he already did in the press conference when he was asked, of course, after being knocked out to Arsenal, all he kept saying is, if I have to leave, I will give thanks to the club because every the years they've given me. So in that way of being gentleman and not saying anything, I think he said everything. And I think the time is up for him and Real Madrid. And I'm sure whatever happens, he will be in good terms because Carlo will not leave any other way. And I think Florentino has to give the respect and the way he deserves to live. I think also the cup final is going to play a big role as well. But again, it's constant noise with Ancelotti since last season. Like if Brazil was coming, wasn't coming, he didn't deny it, he didn't confirm it. But yeah, I think it's about the time that he probably will leave this. I don't know whether he wins the cup in La Liga or doesn't win. Of course, neither of them. It will happen.
So someone who is likely to stay, actually, is Vinicius Jr. Now, there's been speculation, a lot of conversations as to his current contract, whether he's going to stay or go, because there's been very big interest from Saudi Arabia for quite some time now. And he's always said that he wants to stay, that this is his home. He's very happy at Real Madrid. He wants to continue making a name for himself. Currently, he has a contract until 2027, but now they're saying to extend it to 2030 when he would actually be 30.
Well, I think from the club perspective, you have to renovate the new contract because you need these players like him to stay in the club to build for the future. You got Mbappé, you got Bellingham, Rodrigo, etc. So you need to keep these players. Yeah, there was rumors about him because maybe not so much on his football, although this season has been quite poor in terms of numbers compared to last season. But still, he's a fantastic player. He's a world-class player. So you have to keep him. Yeah, maybe Florentino thinks differently, but it's a difficult situation where I think you cannot let him go because then how you replace him to begin with, and then, of course, the repercussion amongst the fans. It's a difficult one.
It's a very, very difficult one. It's a tricky one from a football point of view. I'm sure Carlo Ancelotti has spent many, many nights sleepless trying to figure out how do I make it work with Kylian Mbappé? How do I make it work with Rodrigo? How do I make it work with Brahim? It is a very challenging situation. I mean, he said, what's the solution? Well, you have Kylian Mbappé if you were to leave Vinicius, but both of them look as though they're going to stay and for the long haul. So how do you make it work? Because by and large, it hasn't been very effective this season.
Yeah, it's true. I think the balance of the team was better last season. It has been a problem. There's been other problems as well with the back line and with midfield, and that will continue to be a problem if Vinicius is going to stay long term. You still have Mbappé. They both like to play in that position. Whether it's Carlo or the next coach, it's going to be a continued problem, I think, that.
About this particular Clasico, the third of the season.
Well, always excited about it. Of course, now playing the Cup final, it's a first trophy, could be a first trophy for Real Madrid. I think it's become such an important trophy in terms of not only the morale towards the La Liga race, but also about probably Real Madrid's future in terms of how they build the project for the next season. I think, again, Barca, maybe less pressure on that respect. Let's see how it goes from Champions League, as well how it goes from La Liga. But it seems like Barca will have more opportunities to, let's say, save the season than Real Madrid if they don't win the Cup. So obviously, both will get, I think, in terms of energy, not at the best. And it will be down to talents, which we'll see. Lewandowski probably not be there. Mbappe, let's see. Both teams have enough talent in the teams to be able to be decisive, like Arda Güler was today, to win football matches.
Anything you want to add to that?
No, it's always a great game to look forward to, the Clasico, whether it's in the Cup or in the league games. I think this is going to be interesting because of what's happened previously in the season. Obviously, the 5-2 win for Barcelona in the Super Cup, and then you got the 4-0 win in the league. So there's some damage been done there. Going into the game, you have to say Barcelona have got the slight advantage because of that, because of their form in the league. But Real Madrid are still there. Even though there's been a lot of criticism about their performances, about some of the performances of the team and individuals and the style, they're still very close. You know, they're one game away from winning a cup. They're still fighting in the league. And, you know, the second Clasico will also be really interesting depending on how this one goes.
But he brought up a really great point. There is almost a sense of fragility around this in terms of where Real Madrid are at, how things could end, because depending on what happens in this game, it could make or break them, not just for the remainder of the campaign, but looking ahead to the future as well, given the fact that they were absolutely pulverised in La Liga in the first leg and also in the Super Cup finals. You say, yes, there are important players who may not be able to feature. Do you suspect that Real Madrid, Carlo Ancelotti, will have learned their lessons, learned the mistakes from those two fixtures? They'll be able to lick their wounds because, of course, Real Madrid are a team you can never take for dead. But do you think that they will come at this in a different approach this time?
Yeah, especially this game. This is a final. It's a one-off game with a chance to win an important title. So they'll go into it with lots of belief. I'm sure they would have learnt lessons from the previous games about their performance and the tactical side of things. Looks like they're going to get some important players back fit. Some younger players got some important experience tonight, and some other players got some rest, so they should be going into the game fresh.
And it's a final, and we know, I mean, any team, but especially Real Madrid, when it comes to these games, they come back alive if they're ever dead, which they're not. Again, I think everything gets magnified around Real Madrid, whether if it's for good or for bad. Like we said about, everyone is talking how bad they play. Well, they just got knocked down of Champions League, and they still could win 2 trophies in the season. So you can never write off Real Madrid from these kind of games.
And as the saying goes for them, they don't play in finals, they win them.